I'm Eddie Alterman, Editor-in-Chief of Car and Driver. I'm here with Mark LaNeve, Vice President of Sales, Service, and Marketing for General Motors North America. Thanks for being with us, Mark.
My pleasure.
Busy day. Tell me what you guys announced today and how you think it'll help sales.
What we announced today was GM's Total Confidence Package or Total Confidence Plan. It'll be eligible, all customers will be eligible for it beginning April 1st, running for the month of April. We'll certainly extend it if it's as successful as we think it's going to be. What we did, Ed, was we went out and talked to our customers. We have great incentives in the market already. That's not really moving the needle because we just got a real lack of consumer confidence. The customers got a lot of things on their mind, and buying a car is not really one of them right now. So we said, what's it going to take to get you back in the market to really shore up your confidence? And they really said four things. They want a great warranty coverage, which we have with our 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty. They want to make sure that they got a really safe vehicle, safe and secure, which we provide something that nobody else does with our OnStar system. And very importantly, they were worried about losing their job, how they make their payments, and they were worried about equity on the vehicle, resale value, because of what they saw last year across all manufacturers where there was such a hit in used car values.
Right.
So our Total Confidence Package shores that entire process up in terms of those risks that the customer's thinking about. We have equity protection, unprecedented in the marketplace. We'll make the balance of your payments, we'll make up the difference to NADA retail value should there be a difference. We hope there's not, but that gives a customer great protection on the back end. And up to the first 2 years of ownership, if you lose your job, we'll make 9 payments for the customer. So they really designed it. We announced it today. It's unprecedented in its scope in terms of customer protection, and we're delighted to have it into the market.
So explain to me a little bit how you backstop the payments. If somebody say this protects basically your high volume segments like trucks and SUVs. If gas goes up to $3.50 this summer, you can say, give us how does it work?
Okay, equity protection. The way it works is to vest in the program, you have to have financed your vehicle.
Okay.
And it could be through GMAC or any outside financing institution. Once you've made half your payment, so if it's a 60-month contract, you become eligible on the 31st payment.
Okay.
Most people aren't looking to trade the vehicle in before that. When you bring it into trade on a GM vehicle, say the balance of your payments is $20,000, and the vehicle NADA retail value is $16,000, we'll write you a check for $4,000. Hopefully the customer will never have to use it because our residual values are improving, but it's there in case, like to your point, if gas goes to $5 a gallon and the value of a SUV like our Chevy Tahoe would drop, you're protected up to $5,000, which would cover, under the most dire circumstances, 99% of the customers.
Do you do that through an insurance policy that GM has, or how do you pay for it?
Yes, we are paying for, on behalf of the customer, for an insurance policy, but is entirely branded by GM and will be administered by GM and our dealers. Our program is we'll protect your equity on a trade, or if you lose your job, we'll make 9 payments for you up through the first 2 years. And the reason is we looked at the Hyundai program and talked to customers. If you lose your job, last thing you need to do is lose your car. How are you going to find another job? I mean, you talk about a bad day. You come home, honey, lost my job, don't have a car. You know, I mean, that's a tough day at the office there. So, we really feel like if God forbid that happens to a customer, last thing they need to do is lose their transportation. It's probably the lifeblood of finding another job, getting their family around. And we believe that 9 months was, all of our study shows plenty of time for the customer to find employment and be able to resume their payments.
As of a week ago, nobody had taken Hyundai up on their deal. Is this kind of a safe bet for GM?
Yeah, it's an insurance plan. So we hope that on both of our aspects, equity protection and the payment protection, it'd be in the best interest of the customer, actually, if they never had to use it. And much like Hyundai's found, now what no one had taken them up on was the returning the vehicle.
Okay.
Now there's a lot of stipulations and red tape to doing that, so that's part of the reason too. But you would hope, like any insurance, that you never have to use it, but it's there if you need it. And it really alleviates some of the concern that the customers would have about re-entering the car market. We are really backstopping them on 2 key elements: resale value and job protection in terms of making your payments. And we feel like gives the customer confidence to re-enter the marketplace.
So what do you anticipate this will do for sales?
We think obviously it's going to improve our sales pace that we've had over the last 4 or 5 months since the market really turned down in October. We've started to feel it firming up anyway. I really believe we hit the bottom of the sales trough back in January, February sometime. So our dealers are saying they're seeing increased traffic. They felt like President Obama's statement had a very positive impact. So we believe this will be continued momentum and will really help with sales. I hope it's dramatically, but I'm firmly convinced it's going to help to some degree.
I guess that begs the question, if you're injecting confidence into the market, why are you pulling back on product development? Delays in the CTS coupe and then the diesel engine, those seem to be pretty critical products in terms of not only our readership, but the swagger of General Motors.
Right, well, all the vehicles we have coming over the next, ones we've introduced the last year and the next 18 months are cars or crossovers or hybrids. We've got great truck position in the market. We don't plan on losing one truck sale. We want to protect that position, but we've really got to improve our market position on cars and crossovers. And we're bringing great ones into the market, like the Chevy Malibu, the car of the year, like the new Chevy Equinox, the new Cadillac SRX. We have a big opportunity there. In terms of our product investment in engineering, as we've worked our way through our turnaround, certain programs have gotten moved around in terms of timing, but the core cadence that we need to bring great products to the market, to make sure that we have a strong Chevy and a strong Cadillac as our bookends, that we have a strong Buick and GMC, that we find the right niche lineup for Pontiac, that's been greatly protected, 100% protected in our viability plan, and we'll continue to make sure that happens.
I want to ask you about Pontiac and Buick and how that whole thing works. Pontiac has twice the volume, basically, of Buick, and you're protecting Buick and turning Pontiac into a niche brand, and GMC is soldiering on,
right,
which is all duplication. So what's the strategy there? What's the thinking?
Well, basically, we're going to, the historic GM hierarchy for 80 years it worked was you started as Chevy and worked up through Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick to Cadillac. Well, with a lot of competition and the world changing, that model stopped working. In the process of reacting to that competition, we really got into a position with GM that we had too many brands competing with each other in the same relative space of the market. Chevy, GMC, Buick, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, which is no longer with us. Our viability plan spells it out real clearly. Chevy is our big foundational brand. We'll cover the mid to small parts of the market. We'll go up to, in Corvettes and Tahoes, the relatively high price points. Cadillac's our global luxury brand, as is Chevy as a global brand. We'll compete with Mercedes and BMW, Lexus. But instead of bringing, say, where Toyota brought a Scion in underneath Toyota, we're going to cover that part of the market with Chevy. We think there's a premium space in between Chevy and Cadillac that can be really profitably held by Buick and by GMC. Buick, we're going to leverage the great portfolio that's been developed for China, where Buick's a leading brand. GMC has always worked well for us. It's seen as clearly a superior, a finely engineered vehicle in the market. We get a premium for our GMC product. They're more highly differentiated. And as we drop off Pontiac models, we'll be adding Buick models. And we really feel like the volume over time will actually be greater for the dealer than what they're experiencing today.
And the profit margins are better.
Absolutely, a lot better.
Some of the greatest products that we've driven, like ZR1, cts-v, G8, they've all come out of the performance group. And we were dismayed, to say the least, that it was being broken up. What's the logic there? Was that a PR thing that's not PC to have a performance group anymore? Or what happens to all that great capability in your performance group?
That capability didn't go anyplace. It stayed, right within the company. And I think that the performance group as just an entity, where we're identifying them externally, is basically what we said we're not going to do. And that capability to do vehicles like a ZR1, that capability stayed within General Motors. But we've also had to shift a lot of our focus to, we know how to do great ZR1s or great Corvettes that win 80 straight races, or what incredible number that was. We've got to perform better in small cars and fuel efficient vehicles and very efficient 4-cylinder engines and 6-cylinder engines, and we're doing that too. But we think that's probably at this time and place a better message to send to our key stakeholders, our customers, and certainly to the government, who's made that a requirement of our viability.
How do you deal with a government that doesn't have a solid energy or transportation policy? How do you design for a government that says, hey, build smaller cars, but we're not going to step on the political third rail of a gas tax?
It's a big challenge. I won't deny that. But I think, if we're going to really, be focused on a clean environment, on CO2 emissions, on becoming energy independent, to me that's the most important thing, where we're not reliant on Mideast oil, so that to some degree a lot of our fossil fuel dependency, whether motor vehicles or other things, has to be fixed. And that's not going to happen overnight, obviously. it's going to take industry and the government working together, and there's just no other way that it can happen, because you're going to have investment spending. That you're going to have that you're going to be out in front of where the consumer really wants to be for a certain period of time. We know already they're not willing to pay for 2 powertrains in a vehicle. They're willing to pay for 1, and they do the math on hybrid technology. Does it pay back and what have you? But I believe the government will set up the right parameters around that. And if you think about it, that could be the next era of job creation in the United States is around energy efficiency, alternative fuels, battery technology, wind or turbine, generated electricity. Because in the 90s, we had a real good economy under Bill Clinton. It was all about integrating IT and the internet into mainstream business. That was the big job generator. I really believe in the next decade, it's going to be all around a cleaner environment, energy efficiency, energy technology. We believe GM is a leader and can be even a better leader once we really get our company fixed in that area.